I was losing confidence in myself because people really back away from you. It's like, man, it's
They
you
say
gotta
things to you like, don't you have enough? Why do
yeah,
you need more?
you're
Things are
growing too
good.
fast, you're doing too much.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Dawson here. Welcome back to another episode of the B. Dawson Show, where we interview thought leaders, entrepreneurs across all industries so that we can give you the confidence as a business owner that you can absolutely crush it. Doesn't matter what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, friction, stress, resistance, fear, anxiety. It doesn't matter because there is an alternative to that. And so I like to feature business owners that have made that conversion. And today, I'm going to introduce you to a special guest of mine. I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell you exactly what he does. Boom.
Hi, my name's John Borges with Coloscapes Conete. We're based out of northern Colorado and recently just opened up down here in the Phoenix market. We're a commercial concrete contractor. Been in business for 18 years now.
Wow. 18 years. You're a veteran.
No, I feel like I feel like I'm a newbie every day.
Well, at least you can admit that. There's a lot of business owners that think that they figured it out.
Yeah.
So let's say let's talk about when you first met with us. You started watching some stuff online, and then you decided to come to one of our events. When was that?
That was fall of 2020, and then spring of 2021 was first in person.
And what did you come to, a 10X 360?
No, it was the sales and marketing, and then the scaling workshop.
Oh yeah, the accelerator.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I did the scaling one in person, and the other two I was able to do online remotely.
And then you went to a 10X 360. When did
Yes.
you do that?
I did that in fall of 2021.
Okay, so and here you are right now. You've got your platform being delivered to
Yep.
you. And that's where we reverse engineer and rebuild and backcast and then forward cast basically your 10-year plan and how to build value in your business and how to grow and scale the right way. Talk a little bit about when you came to the event, what were your revenues when you first came to our event?
Revenues were around $8 to $8.5 million, and we're stuck there, which I found out with you guys that was a natural break point. The previous one before that, we were stuck at $3.5 million for it was.
That's the top end of breakpoint one and the top
Yeah.
end of breakpoint two.
So, and I didn't know any of that stuff until I started getting involved with you guys. So, after that, after meeting up and having the interactions, we immediately jumped up to just end of last year, just north of $13 million. So
Stuck for how many years were you stuck at that?
5.
5 years. And all of a sudden you come to our event and you're sitting there first day, probably first hour, and I open up the breakpoint slide and I start saying breakpoint 1, 100,000 to 3 million, and here's what you're going to deal with. Breakpoint 2, 3 million to 8 million, here's what you're going to deal with. Breakpoint 3, 8 to 15 million, here's what you're going to deal with. And you're sitting there going, oh boy, those are exactly the things I'm dealing with.
yeah, so the clarity of it. It all of a sudden it's like the light switch went on or the sun came up while you're lost in the forest. It was it gave me a direction and a path that I knew that I wasn't crazy fighting some demons, and I knew exactly where I was at. So understanding those breakpoints and knowing what steps needed to take next is kind of what got me out of that.
And you pop straight to 13 million,
yeah.
13.5 million. So you're in the middle now, or you're in the top range of breakpoint 3.
Yeah, oh yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. So look, the funny thing is people ask me all the time, and you're in a room right now with probably 10 other business owners that combined you guys are doing, I don't know, a couple $100 million. And downstairs simultaneously we have that 10X 360 you went to in the fall, with 100 people down there. And what's amazing is people ask me all the time, how is it people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with you guys and make that decision in the first half of the first day of meeting you? And I tell them because when you're an entrepreneur or business owner and you're actually out grinding, and you sit in a room for the first time in your life having somebody explain 5 years, 10 years, 20 years of your struggles, defining why they're struggles and what you need to do to fix them, and then showing them what your next struggles are going to be. It so relates versus somebody who's like small. They don't even know those things are going to be an issue they're going to deal with. How many epiphanies did you have sitting through that 2-day workshop where you were like, I got to go all in with these guys and get this business engineered?
There was a lot of things that came across, but what hit me the most was I'm a very impatient person. So, paying the money wasn't, didn't even know if I had the money to pay. That didn't matter to me. What mattered to me is how fast can you turn this around? So, because I knew of the right path, what I needed to do. So it was, it's hard to explain the clarity that you get by the way that Cardone Ventures organizes and lays things out. And it's even going through my platform now. The way that the slides are presented and the way that the graphs are shown, everything is so clear and easy to understand for someone like me who my brain is kind of all over the place. So it really is a guiding light, so to speak.
And how exciting is it to be able to look at a 10-year strategy and recognize what the true opportunity is to build a business? Have you went through your 10-year yet?
Yeah.
So what is your 10-year plan now?
Well, as far as revenue goes,
Yeah.
75 million in 10 years, which it's kind of funny because I thought we'd be at 100 million after going through a couple of the courses here and some of the programs, but that's just a number, but all the backup that goes with it and seeing how you can get to that point and is what's exciting for me, and knowing and giving me the confidence to be able to charge for that and go back and as a leader show that confidence, because that's what's going to get the people to move as well.
Talk a little bit about how you started your business. Did you inherit a family business? Did you buy out a boss? Like how did you start your business?
I sold my car for $1,000, bought a generator, a extension cord, and a saw.
So because I know that story. So for the listeners on here, there's so many people that feel like they're stuck in a job, or they're working somewhere they don't really enjoy, or they want to become their own business owner, but they're not really committed to selling everything and starting from scratch. So just so you know, words of encouragement. Here you have a gentleman sitting here talking to me who sold his shit for $1,000, started his business with $1,000, and did $13.5 million last year, right?
Yep.
And so it takes courage and resilience to be an entrepreneur and build a business. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
But it also takes awareness and curiosity to get big. And I work with so many business owners, and so many of them operate because they have just enough success that they operate with sometimes ignorance and arrogance. Talk a little bit about your cycle of going from $1,000 to $3 million and getting stuck for a little while, and then bouncing to $8.5 million. When you made that first technical move to $8 million, you had to feel like, man, I cannot believe I built an $8 million business.
Well, part of that is true, but realistically, I kind of never look back. I just didn't. I've had to have my wife stop me every now and then and say, look what you've accomplished. Appreciate this, because I'm always driving. It's like I can't stop. And so, turn around looking at where I'm at, I've just recently started doing that, and I just can't. I honestly can't believe it, because I know all the struggles and the challenges and everything you go through. So, as I was building that, you always have the initial support. Everybody's like, yeah, you should start your own thing, you'll be good at this. But there is so much you don't know. But you do have the support of everybody around you, your family, your friends, your
as long as it's working.
When it's working at small like that. As I started getting as the company started growing, and I had these hellacious ideas. Like I had this vision that was just way up there. You start losing those supporters, and I felt like between that $3 and $8 million, I was losing confidence in myself, because people really back away from you. It's like, man, it's
They say
gotta,
things to you like, don't you have enough? Why do you need more?
You're
Things
growing
are
too
good.
fast. You're doing too much. Oh, you're greedy. Things like that really tear you down. So, so what got from 8.5 to 13 million and so quickly was the.
It's okay, man. I cry more than anybody else, dude. Look, I'm going to cry with you. When you go from 8 million and you're frustrated, and you pop your business to 13 million, and you realize that the thing that was keeping you back sometimes is the things that are the most precious to you.
And it's having someone believe in you.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I got here. And just that belief, it's just like an employee or a child. You believe in them, and it's amazing what they can accomplish. And here I have all this stuff. I had all these resources, and I just couldn't break past that. I didn't really do much different. I used the same tools that I already had. Now I'm getting to the point where I have to change management, or not change it, but increase management, increase payroll and equipment. But that gap of that almost $5 million was just sitting there untapped, and all it took was someone to believe and not think you're reaching for the stars, and really show you a couple of tools and just how to move forward and break through that.
Man, what a powerful statement. You look. First of all, let's just talk. Let's address the elephant in the room. Here we got a dude that does concrete for a living. Like if Dimitri ever screws up, I'm just gonna find out where his next job is, and we're gonna put him under the concrete. Dimitri, don't you love it when I'm hard on you, buddy? I would never do that to you, buddy. I'd never do that to you. He might, but I would never.
I was gonna say he's only speaking for himself. Yeah. So,
but here's the deal: like you got a concrete guy. Like if you're banging concrete around, you got to be tough as nails. And you saw how emotional, and for those watching or listening, you'll hear how emotional that moment was, because it sucks when you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are trying to pull you to mediocrity, and yet you're so internally inspired to do something great, and now you're trying to make people happy, and you're trying to live your dream, and people unintentionally, usually the ones that are the closest to you, are so afraid that you're overstretching, or that you could have failure, or don't get as much time with you they want, or whatever the circumstances are. They try to bring you down, or they say or do things that inadvertently bring you down. And I hope everyone can appreciate, here's a guy that's got an $8 million business, made some decisions, popped it to 13, it's going to 100, and he just got emotional because of the frustration of when people don't believe in you. And then all of a sudden you get around people that do believe in you and that have your back. I think that's the most important thing. Like, that you can call us and we'll do anything and everything because we believe 10x. So I just want to say, like people see and hear me cry all the time, because I never forget about the pain in my life. And what makes me actually good as a coach is that every time I'm working with a client and they go to that pain spot for them that they're in, that I was in a different cycle, maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, I can't help but getting emotional with them, because I can so directly connect with how much that sucked, or how inspiring and motivating somebody was in my life that changed everything for me. So I appreciate you sharing that moment with us. When you think about popping from 8 to 13, what does that do with your confidence to go from 13 to 20?
Oh, there's nothing going to stop me now.
Do you know what you're going to do this year?
Yeah, our target was 20. Or
Yeah.
it is 20. So we had a slow start to the year, but it doesn't deter me. We made choices to, it's been 3 years in the making, but coming down to Phoenix now because we knew kind of where our offset and our seasonality were up there. So, or, because of weather. So we're trying to even that out. But, yeah, 20 million. And I honestly believe that we're going to beat that. So.
Yeah, I believe it too. I mean, especially with what's going. If you're going to be down here in Phoenix, what's going on down here is it took me 4 years to build my house because they can't find anybody to do the work because there's so much work.
Yeah.
So I know you're going to crush it. So look, talk a little bit about the journey as an entrepreneur. Sometimes how lonely it is when you're sitting there in those late nights trying to figure out how to engineer by yourself, and you got people that don't necessarily believe in you, or they believe in you, but they think that you've done enough.
Yeah. Talk
about how hard that journey is, because I think a lot of business owners, they don't know what's in store as they're trying to grow and scale. And as you get bigger, it actually gets a little more lonely. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, especially for me, and I probably speak for a lot of people, is, I was a great technician, can build anything out of concrete. And when I had the idea that I was going to start my company, I didn't have any idea what I was getting into, to be honest with you. So I think a lot of people break at that point is it's a lot more work than you could ever imagine. But the reward is also a lot more than you can ever imagine if you keep going through it. So, but as I kept growing through the company and getting larger, all of a sudden you start looking at everybody around you, and the people that were kind of supporting and get you there, like I spoke about earlier, all of a sudden you're starting to get a little bit bigger than them, or a little bit more progressive, so to speak, and you feel like you're by yourself, literally. Like, you don't have that friend you can call on the phone and say, hey, I'm going through this issue. It's like I felt like I was by myself, and really struggling with that for a lot of years. Just trying to find someone that I can, like a mentor, or somebody I can confide in, or somebody that's been through it that can help me kind of figure out the steps.
So when you first started listening to us and all that, you were in searcher mode. You knew you needed something, you just didn't know what.
Yeah, and believe me, there was a lot of stuff out there that people can spend a lot of money on, and nothing attracted me over all those years. So it was a pretty, like, the decision was pretty instantaneous, and I'm not sure the connection wise. I can't really tell you what connected with me, other than the fact that everything that I was trying to figure out, you guys were portraying that or conveying that pretty clearly. But it was the fact that you just aren't going to tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I need to do, but you guys will show me how to do it. And that's where everybody fails. There's plenty of people to tell you what you're doing wrong, or in theory what you should be doing, but nobody can tell you how to do it. And I honestly believe if they could all do it, they'd be doing it. So. And
then you get involved, and right away you realize these guys are speaking the language that I clearly understand. Yes. Because you know what your gaps were and you know what your struggles were. The thing for me that's frustrating is when business owners do hear things like this and they're like, oh, those guys, or what do they know about MySpace? Well, I'm getting that a lot. We launched in the HVAC space. And as you know, we have a partnership with Jeff at Start Concrete. So I'm sure that you'll be part of that deal, because we're going to do a national concrete deal. And people are like, when they hear from a business owner like you, the first thing, if you went and told people, I'm going to work with this Brandon Dawson guy, the first thing they say is, what can he possibly help you with? He doesn't know anything about concrete. That's what all the naysayers in the HVAC space. I just had a podcast with one of the guys, and there's just so much hate. How does he know anything? He doesn't know. We've been doing this our whole life. Well, I think you could probably certify to the fact that I don't know shit about concrete, other than you need to have it on the ground if you're going to build on it, or drive on it, or race on it, or land on it. So what have you been able, because I try to tell people, look, the fundamentals, the algorithms of building a business don't change from business to business to business. The break points are the same across. We've researched 4,000 different businesses in 300 verticals, all doing different things. And within plus or minus 10%, those breakpoints are gravity. If you don't have the right things in place, you're going to bust. What would you tell people that are like, there's no way these guys can help me because they don't know anything about my business or my space? What would you say to them based on your own personal experience in the last year?
Within the last year, I have known or figured out or understood that businesses are business. They all operate. The way you operate and the way you grow a business is the same. My ignorance prior to that was thinking that you had to know, if you were going to help me, you had to know how to pour concrete. That's where my ignorance was. And so this last year with the clarity and a lot of it, with the research that you've done and you've shown that across all the businesses, the metrics on all those, I mean, it doesn't matter what business it is.
And you've been talking to those business owners across all those different industries.
Yeah.
You're now in a peer group of people that do all sorts of things, and you get to directly hear from them what's happening, and you're like, hey, that's the same thing that's happening with me.
Mm-hmm.
So your confidence that if you learn the algorithm of building a business, you develop your leadership skills because somebody needs to be in charge and lead that organization. There's no question, I don't think any of us are sitting here saying, is there an opportunity to pour more concrete every single year? Like the answer to that is of course.
Yeah. Yes. There's opportunity, and that's what I want to capture. Maybe be able to pour as much concrete as I can get my hands on.
Let's go. So what's your next evolution with this? Are you going to go into the SBU?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can help actively manage the business now. You'll blow your $5 million technical move will blow up to $25 million.
Mm-hmm.
You'll blow your numbers away at $20 million this year because you still have 6 months of the year left, and now you're going to have a whole team dedicated to your success. And what was the biggest eye-opener when you got your platform delivered to you this weekend?
The amount of research that was very specific to my business and how it was portrayed or presented. Your team is incredible at knowing each one of our businesses. We're like you said, we're a bunch of different businesses in there, and they don't need a script or anything to go off of. I mean, they took the time to really dive into our companies and to give us the best information and the best opportunity for success. So overall, that's a big piece.
And they use data and science.
Yeah.
And they mystery shopped your biggest competitors, so we know what they're doing better than you're doing. That was probably a little eye-opener, like, oh, shit, I got to get better at these things.
Well, yeah, it was the mystery shopping on my end is pretty interesting. They none of my competitors answered the phone, so
yeah, there you go. That's good to know.
So yeah,
that's good.
So I look at opportunity there, right? So
because if they're not answering, then you put a little money behind having the best answering.
Oh yeah,
platform
that's
and
simple.
People to do business with.
That's some easy money right there.
100%.
And that's just a little piece.
Sometimes it's the easiest thing that you just get. You become a market hog because you just do something different than what everybody else is doing. What was the biggest thing you learned in your marketing section? You went ahead and mentioned it to me when you walked in.
So that's probably my worst sector right now. We do absolutely no marketing, or if we do, we have some social media stuff going on, but we don't track it. We're not marketing. So, that is something that just the potential in that area, if I can focus just a little bit on that, I mean, there's more opportunity right there. So, this weekend has taught me that there's like really diving into when your team has dove into these different areas. I mean, I can go for the easy stuff real quick and just explodes. I mean, make it big. It's crazy. It's not, but as when you're running a business and you're doing multiple things, these are things that you just say, oh, I'll take care of this tomorrow, and it never gets done, or you don't even know it's there. So. And
then you realize how much opportunity.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so.
Now you have a whole team that's gonna be looking at that every day for you.
And excited for SBU because now I have a team. If I look at it and say for each one of these departments, I'm going to go out and hire a person for that. Well, what are the chances they're going to be aligned, like I'm aligned with Cardone Ventures? and the team members.
Because your marketing person has to be aligned with your finance person, your operations person, your professional development person, and they got to be working together. Because what you market, you have to operationalize, or you're ineffective and you're wasting money. And it's just going to be so exciting to see how big you're going to crush this thing. I love doing these podcasts and bringing real business owners. The one thing my listeners know is I'm not going to bring anybody on this show that isn't proved to us through the financials that what they say they're doing, they're actually doing. Because the most important thing for me is the credibility of the people that we work with, the credibility of the things that we tell people, and the results that the business owners we work with get, because that just brings me better business owners who want to go crush it. So look, if anybody wants to have access to what's going on, talking to our business owners, understanding what we do, I invite anybody to come to any of our programs. You just got to, get yourself there. I mean, basically, you were watching stuff online. Were you following Grant before that?
No. In fact, the first time I even heard of Grant was the same year I think you and Natalie went down to, when he flew into the
GrowthCon.
GrowthCon. So that was the first time I heard him. I just went there to support my cousin. He was in real estate. So.
Did you go to that conference?
So I went to that conference, and so through that conference, Jesse Itzler and Maxwell. So started following a couple of those guys, and
both those guys are awesome. That was a great, different format, but definitely a lot of great speakers.
So I was in that network, so to speak, because I went there and he had my information right. So
just
I got
pounding on you with emails.
So when Cardone Ventures started, it took me a little bit to understand that it was two different things. It was a different piece, because I had almost made up my mind. Well, I'm not in the real estate. I'm not on that side of it. And Cardone Ventures offered the whole business perspective of it. So, thanks to those mailing lists, I was on there, and I feel lucky to be able to, or I feel lucky that I didn't delete everything automatically, because it was that one email, man, that got me involved. And I think it was like a $59 online
That's crazy
seminar thing. That's all it took.
Grant is a genius, and he's like, we got to do those things. We got to be able to be available, and we have to be cost effective so that we can grab people's attention. They can easily select in, and then they can find, through all the things we have to offer, they can eventually pick and choose what they need for themselves. But if we don't have a relationship, they won't get in, which is a lesson for everybody in marketing that says, I'm not going to have a $59 product. That $59 product just created a relationship that helped you get $5 million in the last 12 months. Gained us a remarkable partner that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with us, co-investing in each other, and we're going to go blow it up and create a $100 million business. And I know for a fact that we're going to be talking about partnership, because, especially in Arizona here, I am connected to all the contractors and stuff, and all the contractors are just so agitated with the lack of access to subs and people to help them. So I know there's a huge market here. And we're also talking about building a swimming pool company, because the swimming pool guys that did my house have been waiting 4 years. They did such a shitty job and we manage so many businesses that do swimming pools around the country that everyone's coming to me watching that saying, let's open a new pool company, because we know we'll crush it. So now we'll have someone to pour concrete.
We got the same. That's the one license I didn't get down here, but that's one we're working on.
We're working on it. Let's go to next swimming pool. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for being on the B. Dawson Show. I am really excited for people to follow your story. We'll update this podcast in 12 months and 24 months so that people can follow along, or you can come meet him in person at one of our events. So this is Brandon Dawson. This has been another episode of the B. Dawson Show. Thank you for joining us, where I like to bring entrepreneurs, real life business owners, people who are making it happen, to give you the inspiration to make different choices tomorrow than you made today, so you can get bigger, achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals, and succeed. So thank you for listening or watching another episode of the B. Dawson Show.